No DQ Galaxy. We are live with the NoDQ.com recap of Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage for March the 4th, 2022. It's been a while since I have recapped both shows, but this week we had a live Rampage from Orlando, Florida, as we are on the final stop before Sunday's Revolution pay-per-view. Of course, NoDQ.com will have results coverage of Rampage. Not Rampage, but rather Revolution. They both start with an R. And there was a certain R that showed up during Rampage. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But first, we are going to talk about SmackDown. WWE SmackDown, the road to WrestleMania continues. We kicked off SmackDown with some Saturday night's main event style backstage introduction promos. We had Paul Heyman, Ronda Rousey, Sonya Deville, Viking Raiders, Usos, Ricochet, and Sami Zayn, the Intercontinental Champion, all doing these backstage promos. I like when WWE does this, the little throwback to the 1980s. I think they should do these more often. And when the Viking Raiders were doing their promo, sounded like something straight out of the 80s with like Demolition or the Legion of Doom. I enjoy these types of promos. It's a nice change of pace. Good start to the show. And we kicked off things with Sami Zayn defending the IC title against Ricochet, who apparently is getting a renewed push in WWE. Ricochet almost got the win in the opening moments of the match, but Sami Zayn finally stopped his momentum. Ricochet was hot for a few minutes, and Sami hit this exploder suplex on the ring apron, taking out Ricochet. Ricochet did make a comeback, but he was selling his neck. Match went back and forth between the two of them, and Ricochet started getting hot again. He did this somersault into a moonsault over the top all the way out onto Sami Zayn. Zayn was able to regain control, but then Johnny Knoxville showed up. He was wearing this Intercontinental Chump t-shirt with Sami's picture on it. And then Ricochet took advantage and got the 1-2-3 victory. The chat room is bringing up Psycho Jet Black because Psycho Jet Black always makes fun of Ricochet. And now Ricochet is the new Intercontinental Champion. Sami Zayn's title reign lasted, like 2 weeks? But hey, I'm happy for Ricochet finally getting a push again. Sami Zayn was absolutely irate. Backstage, he was throwing things, and he challenged Johnny Knoxville to a match at WrestleMania, the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time. Jose Garza says Ricochet is now out of the EC3 gutter. Hey, maybe EC3 can do something now, huh? Control your narrative. We'll see, man. We'll see. Caleb Jacobs is here. Shout out to Caleb. He sent in a $5.16 super chat. He says, it's official. Tony Khan is the number 2 top businessman in pro wrestling after the purchase of Ring of Honor. I actually thought Tony was already the number 2 businessman after Vince. But yeah, Tony Khan continuing to expand his reach, his influence in the wrestling world by purchasing Ring of Honor. No doubt about that. And I agree with Michael Wayne. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn did not need to be for the IC title. I'm glad they got the title off of Sami Zayn for Ricochet. The only thing is, will Ricochet even get a match at WrestleMania despite holding the title? That's the thing. I'm hoping they can figure out something for Ricochet. Might end up being the pre-show, knowing how WWE operates. Maybe Sheamus gets another match, who knows? But I'm hopeful that at least Ricochet will get some kind of match on the card. Jose Garza says maybe they do a multi-man ladder match. Why not? Get Kofi in there, Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Nakamura. That could be a fun match. I'd be all for that. IC title ladder match. Let's do it. That's Ricochet's specialty. That's right up his alley. I would be totally cool with that if they decided to do that. We had the footage shown from the Pat McAfee show of Vince McMahon being interviewed. And if you guys missed the No DQ review, it's up on the No DQ channel. We talked about it, gave our thoughts on it. Austin Theory showed up. Austin Theory, of course, he is the protege of Vince McMahon. And he told Pat McAfee that Pat got set up by the chairman. Austin said wherever Vince goes, he goes, and Vince is one step ahead of Pat McAfee. Austin said that Pat is a loudmouth, and Pat's mouth is going to be wired shut because Austin Theory is Pat McAfee's opponent for WrestleMania. Austin said he is going to beat Pat to a pulp. He slapped him and then fled the scene, took his leave. Pat went back on commentary and said, "Who the hell is that?" First of all, he basically acted like he had no idea who Austin Theory was, but he did accept the match. It is official. Vince McMahon is not wrestling at WrestleMania, despite the rumors, which is likely a very good thing. It is, in fact, going to be Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee, which is probably going to be a really good match. Pat McAfee looked good in his previous matches, and Austin Theory, definitely somebody who can perform in the ring. So I think that these guys might surprise a lot of people. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $4 super chat. He's still on the Tony Khan high. He says, well, he was number 2, but it's official now. There you have it. Tony Khan, officially the number 2 businessman in the world of professional wrestling. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, Caleb. And we will talk more about AEW here in just a few minutes. So stay tuned. And yeah, Jose, I think it's going to be 7 matches a night for WrestleMania, similar to what they did last year. We had Naomi versus Carmella, and really not much to say about this one. They got the tag team match set up for WrestleMania. Sasha Banks was there. She pulled Zelina Vega off the apron. And Sasha hit the Meteora in the steps. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Naomi hit the split-legged moonsault, picked up the 1-2-3 victory. Natalya was watching sideways backstage for whatever reason. Who cares? But anyways, I'm indifferent to all this. I'm just hopeful that we'll get new tag team champions because the women's tag division desperately needs some help at this point. We had Happy Corbin playing a card game with Madcap Moss and a bunch of other guys that might be future NXT recruits or whatever. They were insulting McIntyre. McIntyre came to the ring, had a match with former WWE champion Jinder Mahal. Shanky got on the apron. He tried to interfere. No luck. Mahal attempted to put on the Colossus, but was unsuccessful. McIntyre hit the Glass Cow Kiss. Claymore, 1-2-3. Glorified squash match. Yeah, Jinder Mahal was at one time the WWE champion. After the match was over, McIntyre cut a promo. Blah, blah, blah. Says that Corbin and Moss have no respect for the locker room. He's going to take out Corbin at WrestleMania. And they were bringing up, Jose mentioned this, they were bringing up how Corbin is undefeated at WrestleMania. I have really not been paying much attention, but I know he beat Kurt Angle. Other than that, I really do not care about Corbin's track record at WrestleMania. But anyways, I guess that's the gimmick for this, that McIntyre is going to end Corbin's winning streak. Don't really care. They got to be doing something better with McIntyre, but for now, he's got the match with Corbin at WrestleMania, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. We had Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura in another Tundra commercial. They were hiking in the woods. And then they were going to have a match or something. They were coming down to the ring and they were attacked. They were jumped from behind by the Usos. And then Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, made his entrance. And the crowd was very much behind Roman. They were doing the one symbol. They were chanting his name. Roman brought up Madison Square Garden, which is Saturday night. Both him and Brock Lesnar will be defending their championships. Reigns said he's going to smash his opponent. He doesn't know if Lesnar will, but he wants Lesnar to get to WrestleMania and hand over the WWE title. Roman Reigns said he's like Babe Ruth. He's going to call his shot. He did it last year. He's going to do it again. He is going to smash Brock Lesnar, celebrate with $5 million of fireworks going off, going to hold both titles over his head, and said that Brock Lesnar will acknowledge him. Good promo here. I agree with Jose. Roman was on fire on the mic. Nicely done from him. And then we had the Viking Raiders versus the Usos. And by the way, I don't think it's Baron Corbin with an undefeated streak, but rather Happy Corbin. I'm not even sure how many matches Happy Corbin has won or lost. I really don't care. I care so little about Corbin's shtick that I do not know if he's undefeated or not, nor do I really care. But anyways, regardless, he's going to lose at WrestleMania, bottom line. So we had the Viking Raiders versus the Usos. Finally, the Viking Raiders getting their tag team titles match. Match was very good. Very solid match here. And the Vikings came close on a couple of occasions. Jay ended up saving Jimmy from the Viking experience. Ivar hit this big splash off the top, but Jimmy kicked out. They brawled on the outside, and Jimmy went for a big splash, but Eric got his knees up. They hit the Viking experience on Jimmy, but Jay broke up the pin, and then Ivar was sent to the outside. Usos finished off Eric with the 1D, their version of the 3D, to pick up the victory and retain the tag team titles. Which team is next? My feeling is it might be Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, unless Nakamura goes in that ladder match, which, like I said, I would be totally fine with. But you got to have somebody for the Usos. Maybe the New Day? Who knows? Maybe they do like a 4-way tag title match. Would not shock me if that happens either. We had Big E and Kofi Kingston, the New Day, up against Sheamus. Actually, it was Big E versus Sheamus. Big E and Kofi came down to the ring with their ATV, so I guess that's their new gimmick. And there really was not a match here. It was mostly an angle. Kofi Kingston was doing the New Day Rocks thing with the horn, and Ridge Holland attacked him from behind with a chair. Ridge Holland started smashing the ATV with the chair. And then him and Sheamus got on the ATV, drove away. They went backstage. They grabbed a couple of Triple H's sledgehammers, and they destroyed the New Day's ATV. Oh man, I cannot wait to see the New Day get their revenge for this. This is going to be a big one. I agree with Curtis Butler. Did nothing for me. We had Johnny Knoxville interviewed, and he accepted Sami Zayn's challenge for WrestleMania. No surprise here. And Drew McIntyre interrupted Happy Corbin's dart game, whatever. Then we had our main event of SmackDown. We had Ronda Rousey versus Sonya Deville. Ronda's knee was taped up. Charlotte Flair arrived because why not? And she quickly got on the apron for a distraction. Sonya Deville went after the knee for a while, but Ronda made her comeback, hit the Piper's Pit, and put on the armbar, got the submission win. Charlotte said she was not impressed. She got in the ring, and Ronda took her down and busted out the ankle lock. Now, this was pretty cool because you remember WrestleMania 34, Ronda Rousey teamed up with Kurt Angle, so why not use the ankle lock? I like it. I'm all for it. And it gives her an extra move now to possibly win matches. So I like that she's using the ankle lock. Charlotte tapped out. Good stuff here. Good ending to the show. Overall, SmackDown was pretty solid. I would say it's a recommend. Good show overall. I'd give it either a B or a B+. Good WrestleMania build-up. You set up a few more matches. You built up some of the matches that have already been announced. Wrestling was solid. I liked it. So now we move on to the live edition of AEW Rampage, and we kick this one off big. Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin versus Andrade for the TNT title. All three guys were already in the ring. We were getting right to the action. And Sammy and Darby decided to work together at first. Andrade kept trying to run away from them. They eventually caught him, but then Darby went for a pinfall, and of course, Sammy had to break it up, and that's when they started fighting. We had a pretty cool Tower of Doom sequence where Sammy was going for a superplex on Darby. Andrade came in, did the power bomb while Sammy was doing the superplex. And the crowd loved this, of course, chanted this is awesome. Andrade started using his belt. And then after a while, after some dominance from Andrade, Sammy and Darby were able to fight back. Sammy did a coast-to-coast, busting out a Shane McMahon classic. And Darby used his belt on Andrade. But then Sammy and Darby started going off at each other once again. They traded some near falls. Crowd gave the guys a standing ovation. Darby hit a stunner, and then Sammy hit the GTH on Andrade. Darby threw Sammy out of the ring, tried to steal the pin. He hit the coffin drop on Andrade, but then Sammy got back in the ring and re-stole it, took out Darby, and then pinned Andrade to retain his championship. And then after the match, Sammy went for a handshake, but Darby Allin declined it. Now, of course, Sammy is teaming up with Darby and Sting at Revolution. Nice little build-up for this. Match was really good, and you set up Revolution as well. Thumbs up for this. Definitely worth checking out. And then we had Penta, Pac, and Alex in the ring cutting a promo on the House of Black and said that they are basically declaring war for Revolution. And even though Phoenix is out of action, there are three of them ready to go. House of Black appeared on the big screen and said that the sacrifices will be honored. They then popped up in the ring. They were ready to take out the three guys, but Alex had a revelation. He was not the third guy. The third guy was Eric Redbeard, formerly Eric Rowan in WWE. He only made one appearance in AEW. That was the Brody Lee Memorial Show from the end of 2020 on Dynamite, and we never saw him again. But Eric Redbeard is back. He came down to the ring. There were security guards trying to separate the two sides, and Eric Redbeard just beat the crap out of all of them. And Penta snapped the arm of one of the security guards, so that was a little nice touch. I like the segment, and they did announce this 6-man match for the buy-in. My feeling is it's probably going to be a one-off for Eric Redbeard, and he's going to do the job here until Phoenix is back. But it'd be cool to see more Eric Redbeard. I'm all for it. He looked fired up, and there was some carnage with him. But yeah, I'm not sure we're going to see more of him. We'll have to wait in and see what happens with that. You know, if they were going to use the guy, I think they would have been using him all this time. But hey, if he has a good showing, maybe they'll keep him around. We had Scorpio Sky and Dan Lambert backstage, and I guess Scorpio Sky is going to bypass the ladder match, and he'll get a future opportunity if Paige Van Zant signs a contract with AEW, and I guess that's going to happen on Sunday. Boy, oh boy, I'm so excited for that one, whatever. We then had Keith Lee versus DJ Drake, and this was a nice, fun little match. Keith mostly dominated. Big powerhouse match. Men, big, beefy men slapping meat, whatever the phrase is from Big E. Drake got a little bit of offense, hit a moonsault, but Keith Lee kicked out at one. And then Keith grabbed him, held him there for a while, and then picked him up, hit the jackhammer, scored the 1-2-3 victory. Afterwards, the wingmen arrived, and they got beat up. Keith Lee took Peter Avalon, tossed him over the top onto the other three guys. Good usage of Keith Lee. Just let him beat up a bunch of people. And then Team Taz walked down to the ring, hyping up the Face of the Revolution ladder match. But then we had Orange Cassidy show up to stop any 2-on-1 attack on Keith Lee. Not that Orange Cassidy would have been the big difference maker. So yeah, good stuff here. Nice little match for Keith Lee to get him established in AEW. Crowd was loving him, doing the Keith Lee chants, doing the bask in his glory, all that stuff. We had a promo from after Dynamite with CM Punk. He was very angry, blood all over his shirt. Said he's going to beat MJF so bad in the dog collar match that MJF's own mother will not even recognize him. And then he ended the promo saying he is better than MJF. We then had our main event. Well, actually, before the main event, there's one more match I forgot. Actually, a couple of segments here. So we're not quite there a lot. I got to give them credit. They do manage to get a lot of stuff into 1 hour. Like, I feel like everything I just described could have taken place in an hour, but there's more stuff here. We had a backstage interview with Jade Cargill. Anna Jay provided a distraction, and Ty Conti took her down, said that in less than 48 hours, she's going to be the champion. She called Jade a bitch. Still don't think we're getting a new champion. Think that it's a pretty easy prediction to say Jade will retain, and she's the heavy betting odds favorite, by the way. We had Serena Deeb's 5-minute challenge with Layla Gray. And Gray just tried to avoid Deeb for the 5 minutes, but she was unsuccessful. Deeb caught her very quickly, tapped her out. Match went about a minute, so it did not last long for Layla Gray. Serena continued her attack afterwards, and then we had Hikaru Shida make her return after a bit of an absence. She came down with a kendo stick, went right after the knee of Serena Deeb, and Serena managed to escape. She was limping, though, so there was definitely a little bit of payback there. from Hikaru Shida to Serena Deeb. And yeah, she's back. We had Eddie Kingston with a little promo backstage to hype up his match with Chris Jericho, and talked about how people are using all these insider terms now. And he said kayfabe may be dead, but you don't have to piss on its grave. And he said that if Jericho wants the script to be flipped, he said flat out he is going to embarrass Chris Jericho and make him shake his hand. Good little promo here from Eddie Kingston. I liked it. And then we had our main event, Ethan Page versus Christian, for the final spot in the Face of the Revolution ladder match. They did their pre-match promos. Mark Henry did the whole spiel. And we had our main event pretty solid. Nothing too spectacular, but a good match. Christian hit a spear. Page kicked out of it. Christian got sent into the post. And then Page went for the ego edge, Razor's Edge. Christian managed to escape. And then Christian hit the kill switch, got the 1-2-3 victory. And afterwards, we had the Jurassic Express come down for the celebration. Christian's added to the ladder match. Then we had the Young Bucks along with Red Dragon. They all came down to ringside. They grabbed the titles. Kyle O'Reilly had one tag team title. Matt Jackson had another. They held them up, had a little face-off, and then Luchasaurus took the titles. And then we had Jungle Boy come over the top with a dive onto both the Young Bucks and Red Dragon. And that was our final segment heading into this Sunday's Revolution pay-per-view. All in all, fun show. Good episode of Rampage, moved very quickly. Like I said, they got a lot of stuff into a 1 hour show. It flies by. Worth checking out, especially the first match. The first match was awesome, and the show was an easy watch, as it typically is for the Rampage episodes that I have checked out. I just wish they would be live every week. Like, I really have little interest in watching the taped shows, but when it's live, you never know what's going to happen. And here, Eric Redbeard showed up, which was a nice surprise. So, good show. And overall, fun night. SmackDown was good. Rampage was good. And it was a pretty easy watch for the 3 hours. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate your viewership and support. And again, this Sunday night, we'll be doing the live recap, probably going to be past midnight. But that's how the cookie crumbles with these AEW pay-per-views. They do run late. They're usually around 4 hours. But I will be here to recap the pay-per-view. I hope you guys will show up. And if not, maybe check it out on demand. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, and I will see you all next time. And don't forget to say yes to NoDQ.com. See you next time.